My mom left my dad for a pedophile. So I'm about to give you a messed up story time. My cousin, 42, just got out of prison 3 weeks ago. He was in prison for 13 years for child molestation. Going to put this in context for the rest of the story. Me, 20, and my boyfriend, 26, live right next to my cousin that just got out of jail. We are renting a tiny home from his parents. Well, my mom never came to visit me much before my cousin got out of jail. Once he did, she started coming over every weekend with her hair and makeup done, which I thought was odd, and she always seemed flirtatious, but I wasn't going to say nothing to my dad yet cause I didn't want to stir anything up I wasn't certain about. She has cheated in the past. Well, we were all playing cards one day, and my dad starts texting me asking if my mom was with this certain cousin alone, and at the time she wasn't, so I said no. The next weekend, I get a phone call waking me up out of my sleep, and it's my dad saying, "Did you know your mom has been messing around with my cousin?" I was shocked cause I was certain my mom would never cheat again after what she put us all through all these years. So I had college classes that day, but before I went to school I went to my dad's house and asked my mom what was up. She said, "Nothing, we are just friends." My dad told her she needed to find a new place to stay and took her phone that he pays for. Put this as context as well. My parents have been together for 22 years, and out of 22 years my mother has maybe worked 3 of those years. My mom just started back working, so she doesn't have anything saved up. Anyways, I was getting ready to leave for school and asked my mother what she was going to do. She told me she was going to go to work that day, and she also assured me she would not go see my cousin anymore. Well, fast forward to after school, I get home and I see my mother's car at my cousin's parents' house. They also live next to us. So I call my aunt and I ask if my mother is over there, and she says no, she's at your cousin's house. So I walk over there to my cousin's house and ask what's going on and why she isn't at work. She said she was tired and didn't feel like going, and I asked her why she was over here again when she said she wouldn't come there anymore. She couldn't give me an answer. I ask my cousin and my mom both what their intentions are, and they both keep beating around the bush. I simply say, "We're all grown here, let's put everything out on the table." My cousin then speaks up and says he has feelings for my mom. Then my mother says she wants to take things slow but wants a relationship in the future possibly. I then ask her what she is going to do about a living situation. She then says, "I was hoping I can come and live with you for a bit." I then say, "You can stay with me, but you can't have any communication with my cousin in respect of my dad." She hesitates like that's a hard decision. I then leave and say, "Well, I will leave y'all to talk and decide what y'all are going to do, if you're going to stay here or at my place." She comes over to my house an hour later and says he wants to take things slow. I then remind her that she can't stay at my place if she has any intentions of still communicating with him, and I tell her I'll give her a day to decide. That night, we discuss going to get her some clothes from my father's house. I woke up early at 9 a.m. to accommodate her and take her to get some clothes when I had class that day, and you won't believe it, when I woke up she wasn't there, she was back at my cousin's house. So I waited a few hours and then I just went to class. When I got back from class at 9 p.m. she was still at his house, so I sent my cousin this text: "Hey, this message is for you and mom." I've tried to be nice and say things in a nice way, but I guess I'm going to have to be a little more blunt since nobody is listening to what I'm saying. I'll tell you the same thing I told mom. I told her she can stay here, but y'all can't have no communication or mess with each other, cause I'm doing that in respect of dad, cause I'm not putting myself on bad terms with that side of my family because of y'all's actions. If y'all want to mess around, see each other, communicate, or anything, she needs to stay with you or find her a place. That's as simple as I can put it. I'm not gonna do this for next couple days wondering if I'm going to have someone staying with me or not, while she comes and plays house with you during the day and comes here to sleep and is back at your place before I even wake up. Not to mention I woke up at 9 o'clock to accommodate her and take her to get clothes, and she's nowhere to be found. So to simplify this whole thing, you'll need to decide tonight what the plan is, if y'all are gonna quit communicating and she's staying here, or if y'all are gonna do y'all's thing and she stays there, or if she's gonna get her own place. Anyways, you'll just shoot me a text and let me know what the deal is. 10 minutes later, my mother shows up at my house and doesn't say anything about the text and asks could she use my phone to call my father and my little brother. I say sure, I'll let you know when he calls. Well, my dad calls, they stay on the phone for 3.5 hours. Fast forwards to the next day, we go to my dad's to get her some clothes, and she talks my dad into letting her stay in the guest bedroom until she can get on her feet. The only way she talked my dad into this is she said she couldn't afford to stay with me, which I was only going to charge her $300 a month to stay with me, and she said so she was going to stay in her car. Well, she stayed with my dad for 2 days. Apparently they slept together, and we're going to try to work things out until I found in my deleted messages that when my mom was talking to my brother and father on the phone that night, she was texting my cousin on my phone the whole time saying how much she wanted to be with him, and confessing her feelings, etc. The whole time, she was telling my father there was no feelings between them and she didn't want to be with my cousin. She also got her a new phone and was texting my cousin the whole time while staying at my dad's, come to find out. My dad asked could we have her new number, and she said no, the only people I have given it to is your cousin and my friend at work. My dad then told her to get out and they will not be working through things. She is now living with my cousin and has not spoke to me or my brother in a week and a half. I no longer think I will communicate with my mother, being I feel she was using me and lying to me this whole time. I also told her if she was to go live with my cousin, me and her would have no communication after that, so I feel she chose this man she's talked to for 3 weeks over her children. What's your thoughts on this?